What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with a new tournament held here at Chess Zone called the June Summer Classic. And I was pretty excited to play in this tournament. One, because it was a great amount of people that pulled up. There were about 50 people that showed up to the event, and there were a lot of strong people that I recognized that came to the event. So it was just nice seeing everybody and having be a very competitive section. And actually, funnily enough, the section was so strong that I was actually at like the bottom half of the in terms of rating strength. So that alone kind of resonated with me. Like, wow, this section is more stacked than usual. And it proved to be the case because in round one, I was paired against National Master Sankar Jonnalagadda. Hope I said that mostly correctly. We played one other time in the past. There's a Georgia tournament where chess teams of high schools play statewide and just represent their school and to win a prize. And we were both board one for our high schools, so that was, I think, the only time we ever played against each other. I obviously lost that game, but now we're actually playing in a tournament game, and you're just going to have to see how things changed. And these are long games. Another thing why I like classical is because it sort of tests your limits, prove to yourself that you're the rating you're on. That's on paper. No sort of flagging or anything like that. Just true, authentic chess. So anyway, let's just go ahead and start the game here. So I have the white pieces, and I begin the game with e4. Sankar plays c5, going into the Sicilian. I play knight f3. He goes d6, and for longtime viewers of the channel, you'll know that I'm a fan of the canal attack with bishop to b5 check. But lately, I've been trying a new version of the Sicilian, which is after d4, c takes d4. Instead of taking with the knight, which is what most people do, I've been kind of experimenting with queen takes d4. And I kind of like this move because it's a very flexible opening, because you can develop the knight and bishop on the queen side and the king's side bishop pretty quickly, and it gives you the flexibility of where to castle. And if white castles long, in a lot of cases, you can just have a really attacking position, but it's just a matter of preference. I just prefer queen takes d4. So he played knight f6, I go knight c3, he goes knight c6, and here I sort of incorporate a thematic idea of the canal attack. I play bishop b5 here to pin the knight to the king, so the queen can't be taken. But it's not the canal because it's just not the same moves, even though it features bishop b5. So here he plays bishop d7. I trade on c6. He takes back. I play bishop g5. Again, this is very flexible. I'm getting my pieces out pretty quickly. Here he plays e6, and again, it's flexible because I can decide where to castle. I kind of didn't want to castle along because maybe he would start attacking me before I were to attack him if we were to castle opposite sides. And I didn't really want to go into that sort of game. So I think for a little bit, and I decided to castle kingside, although both are totally fine. Here he plays bishop to b7 to prepare to castle next turn. I play rook on a to d1 to pile up on the pawn on d6. He castles. And here I thought a little bit about what to do. I wanted to play the move e5 here to try to open the d-file and hit the knight and the pawn. But if I were to play e5, which the engine actually says it's totally acceptable, I was scared that after e5 he would take my knight on f3 and double my kingside pawns, which is something you don't really want to do. So here I play queen d3 to stay on the file and also defend the knight on f3, so that if e5 happens and bishop takes knight, I would take with the queen and be happy. So here Sankar plays queen a5, and I noticed that, okay, he's looking at my bishop, but it's defended, so I don't have to worry about that, and I can continue with something else. So here, after a bit of time, I play the move a3, and at this point in the game, we each had about an hour and 25 on the clock. Again, this is 90 plus 10, so we were moving relatively quickly here, each making about 12 moves. Here he plays the move rook on a to c8, just a normal developing move, getting it on the half-open file. And here I play a little bit of a cheeky move, and also the reason why I played a3. I played the move b4, and it might look like the pawn in a3 is free, but I was actually setting a little bit of a trap. Not that he would fall for it, but it's never a bad idea to try it. Even if the trap is bad, it's still a good move in it of itself. But anyway, if Sankar would have played queen takes a3, not that he would ever do this, but if he were to do it, I was ready for it. I would have played the move knight d5, and he would lose a piece here because his bishop on e7 is undefended, but more importantly, his queen is undefended, and if he thinks he can take on d3, instead of taking back, I would take his bishop on e7 with check, an intermediate move. The king would go to h8, and then I would take his queen back and emerge up a piece. And there would be there's no move that the queen can retreat from and defend the bishop, so he would lose a piece no matter what he does. So anyway, he didn't fall for that as a national master, and he instead played the move queen c7, lining up on the c-file with a second piece and sort of bearing down on my knight and pawn in a way. And I was a little bit uncomfortable with that because, either my knight would be hit, and if my knight moved, then he would take on c2 in some lines. So I just didn't like the long-term pressure he was piling up on me. So here I play knight d4 with the idea to hit the bishop, but also add another defender to my c-pawn in case my knight on c3 were to move. So here we play the move rook on f to d8. And in these types of positions, there's a lot of, you don't really have a concrete plan. You don't have a concrete plan like, oh, let's attack the king, let's improve this piece. You sort of have to guess about what to do. It's not really apparent. And that's why I didn't really move here right away, because, you don't really know what to do here. There's a lot of moves to think about, a lot of candidate moves, and this is a very positional game. The engine's saying to take the bishop on c6 with the knight, but I kind of didn't want to do that because it would help black's queen get more active. I don't know. So here I play rook f to e1, just a slow move. Very slow game so far. The engine didn't like it, but it's not that bad of a move because the engine didn't really rise up that much for black. And in fact, Sankar didn't even play the best move, so it wasn't really a mistake. He played the move h6, asking my bishop where it's going to go. Again, the engine's saying I should take the bishop, but instead I play bishop h4. He plays bishop to e8 after some time, unleashing the power of the queen and rook on the c-file. But I don't have to worry about my pawn being lost because I put the knight on d4, which is why I play the move knight on c to e2. And I'm not losing anything, but the engine's saying that black is much better here, mainly due to the fact that he has more activity and prospects with his pieces and can open the board up and invade in some sort of long-term goal. But my pieces are sort of not really creating too many lines of fire, open lines, so that's why black's better. And he played the best move here. He played d5. He's going to open the second file for his rook, and I kind of have to take. I can't really do anything else, so I decided to take on d5. He plays rook takes d5, and now he has a lot of pressure on the c and d files, which is why black is much better. He might even pin my knight with e5 in some lines, which is what I was a little bit worried about here also. So here, after a bit of time, I play bishop g3 to attack the queen. And here I had 58 minutes, and that goes to show that it got very complicated very quickly. Like, Sankar and I were not spending more than a few minutes in, the first 10 moves, and only, a few moves after that, we already spent, 20 more minutes. So this is how the position got really murky. Now here, I was scared that maybe Sankar would play queen d8 with the idea to try to add another layer of pressure on the d file and try to back up e5 by adding another piece to pin my knight. But I was ready for that. If he were to play that, I was going to go c4 here to attack the rook. And if the rook stays on the d file, then I can play queen b3 to unpin and move my knight, and life goes on. So I think he saw that. He saw that I wanted to play c4. That was my idea in the position. which is why he played the move queen c4. He's just getting in front of the square, and I can't play it anymore. And here I was deciding about what to do because I was like, do we trade the queens? Do we keep the tension and play something else? Do we move the queen away and decline the trade? Like, these types of positions, there's a lot of crossroads you can go along, and you have to sort of consider a lot of options before you move. It's not like one move clearly outshines the others in an obvious way. So here, after a bit of time, I decide to go into the endgame. Queen takes c4, rook takes c4. And even though I'm not down any material, black is still much better here because both of the rooks are really good. The knight can get into e4 at some point. So here, I was worried about the knight going to e4, which is why I played the move f3. Also, maybe trying to put the bishop on f2 in some lines to look at the pawn on a7. And also maybe the king could get out that way. So just sort of a waiting move, but helps my position stay more or less intact. And here, Sankar plays a logical move that the engine doesn't like for some reason. He played the move a5 here. What can be more natural than striking a pawn, trying to break up the pawn chain? But here I played the move c3. I'm just sort of holding my pawn chain together, adding another layer of defense. And here he decides to take on b4. And I was pleased to see that because after a takes b4, I have the a file open to my rook. My pawns are connected and not hanging. So I thought I was doing okay here. Here, Sankar played the move rook d8. Apparently, he should have went one square short to rook d7, but I don't really see really a big difference with that. So here, I really want to trade the rooks off, so I played the move knight b3, which is the best move. And also, I'm trying to go to like a5 or c5 at some point with my knight. So again, a lot of maneuvering this game. Not really anything complicated or tactical, just very positional. So here, we were both getting kind of low on time. I had 40 minutes at this point, and after Sankar played his next move, he had 21. So just goes to show that even in a classical format, time trouble can become a real thing, especially if the position becomes as complicated like the one you see here. So the engine was saying that he should trade rooks on d1, but I don't really think a human would want that because you would give the opponent the open file. What I thought when he was thinking, I thought he would go bishop a4 here because that looked very natural, just pinning the knight to my rook and getting it on a more active diagonal. But he didn't do that. I would have played rook takes d8, bishop takes d8, knight c5, and I'm not pinned anymore since I traded the rooks off, and I would have hit his bishop. So maybe he didn't want to go into that line. Which is why he played the move b6, just a prophylaxis move, just preventing the knight from going to c5 or a5, although the engine doesn't like it. So here, I still want to trade rooks, so I play rook takes d8, we get bishop takes d8, and here, I play the move rook d1 to attack the bishop, and here I was thinking maybe he'd go bishop e7, or rook c8, but he played knight d5, which was also a very logical move, just blocking the file and adding some pressure on c3 with the knight. And here I was thinking about knight f4 for a long time, which the engine says is an inaccuracy. I was thinking about knight f4, just trying to add some pressure to the knight on d5, try to get on the back rank if he were to take my knight. But the engine would have said the best line for black would have been rook takes c3, knight takes d5, e takes d5, rook takes d5, and I was wanting this because my rook would get more active, I would hit his bishop. But here, Sankar can play bishop e7, and I would be losing a pawn because I have to deal with the threat on my knight, and I can't defend the b4 pawn, so we end up winning that. But I didn't play knight f4 here. I was also thinking about rook d3 for a little bit, just to add another defender, but after kind of rejecting both of those moves, I play the move knight d2. I'm like, let's just attack the rook, let's just kick it away, and then we'll figure out what to do next. So here, actually, I was thinking Sankar would have played... I was calculating knight takes c3 And I thought he couldn't play that move, but apparently he can. So I was thinking he would play, a possibility would be knight takes c3 to counterattack my rook on d1. So if I took on c4, he would take on d1 and be up a pawn. But I thought he couldn't do this. He'd be losing because I would take on c3, rook takes c3, knight e4, and he has to go rook c8 to defend his bishop on d8, only move. And then I thought knight d6, and I'm forking his bishop on e8 and the rook on c8. We're winning a piece. So I was sort of hoping he would play knight takes c3 with the idea, and I would have went into this line thinking I'd be up a piece. But what I totally missed and what the engine's suggesting is that black can counterattack my rook, play bishop to a4, and I missed this when I was calculating it in my head. And because I just stopped here like, oh, we get a fork, we're going to win a piece. But I forgot to consider bishop a4, and if rook a1, rook a8. And black holds on to their extra pawn and defends against all my threats. And it's zeros, but I was kind of hasty to conclude that it was winning. But I didn't have to worry about any of that because Sankar did not play knight takes c3. He played rook to c8, just retreating and keeping an eye on the c-pawn. So here I play knight e4 anyway, because I'm trying to get into d6, as I mentioned, with the possible fork, and I also defend the pawn twice. So here, Sankar played the move rook to a8 to get on the active file, and here I play knight f4. The engine doesn't like that. I should have went knight d6, apparently, but I wanted to try to trade off that strong knight on f4. I was also getting kind of low on time. Well, I say low. I only have 32 minutes, and I was hoping he would trade. But he played the best move, and the only move to be winning, I think, which is knight e3. And here he had 16 minutes, so I have double the amount of time he has, but he has a better endgame. So here I played the move knight e3, attacking my rook. And in retrospect, I should have played the move rook e1. I wanted to attack the knight, but I wasn't sure whether rook e1 was better or rook d3 was better. In retrospect, I should have played rook to e1. But instead, I play the move rook d3, and he has a 3-move tactic to win an exchange. And I'll invite you guys to, if you guys don't see it, to pause and try to think about it. It's something I totally missed, because I thought maybe the knight would go to f5 after this, or maybe knight c4. But here, Sankar played the move rook a1 check, and I'm like, so, let's go king f2, What are you going to do now? I have your knight hit and your bishop on d8 is hit. Then he played the move knight d1 check. And I'm like, and now I saw the problem. This is really disgusting. If I only have 4 spots for my king to move to. 3 of them lose the rook thanks to a discovered attack. And the 4th one, which I thought was fine at first, king e2, he suddenly has bishop b5, and I'm pinned. My rook is pinned to my king, and I'm going to lose an exchange here. So that was a nice little tactic he had that I missed, where he could have won the exchange. So I'm like, oh, shoot. He's down on... I'm losing the exchange, but he only has like 10 minutes on the clock. So maybe the time pressure will get to him, and he'll slip. So that was sort of what I was hoping on, sort of the hope chest I was riding on. And I have about a little more. I have like 23 minutes. So after a bit of thought and like thinking I realized I messed up. I'm like, I should have went rook e1. After a bit of thought and questioning my decisions, I play king d2 to unpin. He takes the rook on d3, and I take the knight on d3. And for a second, I thought I was doing okay, maybe even equalizing, because his knight on d1 actually can't get out. The knight on d1 cannot retreat because all the squares it can go to are covered. And his rook has to stay glued to defending it. So like, hey, wait a second, maybe this isn't so bad because black's kind of stuck but defending the knight and keeping the rook there. But the engine just disagrees with me. It says black is totally winning. But here, under low time, Sankar makes a few errors, starting with the move g5. And here, thanks to the time pressure, it's now equal again. I think his idea was to play the move f5 to hit my knight, And after my knight would have moved, he would have played f4, and then he would have forced my bishop to e1. So I think that was his idea, to sort of create a pawn chain and threaten the move f5. Here the engine's suggesting the move bishop to e5. But I don't do that. I play knight d6, which I think is the second move of the computer. Again, my idea was to just get out of f5, not get hit with tempo. Here we played the move bishop to f6 to hit the pawn on c3 twice. And here the engine's saying I should have defended with knight b5, but I instead played knight e4 because I'm like, oh, I defend and I attack the bishop. But the problem with that is that after bishop g7, I moved my knight to the exact same spot where I get hit with f5 with tempo. So I sort of undid the point of knight d6. The point of knight d6 was to get out of the line of fire, but I moved it right back to the line of fire, and I have to worry about that again. So I sort of undid it in a way. So after bishop g7, here I play bishop e5 now. I should have played it a little bit earlier. He played the move f5 here. Again, the time pressure is getting to him. He's making some inaccuracies. I played knight f6 check. I kind of wanted him to trade because, again, the knight's stuck, and maybe my two knights would be enough to equalize. He played king f7. He didn't trade. I played knight d7. He played b5 to save his pawn. Again, he has like 7 minutes here, so I was sort of banking on the fact that he would air up in the time pressure. So here I take on g7. We get king takes g7. I play knight 7 to e5. Apparently the only move to not be losing was the move g3. And actually looking at it, it makes total sense because what black wants is black wants to play f4 and defend the e3 square for their knight to get away from. So g3 just prevents that idea. And I missed that because knight 7 to e5, he plays f4, and I can't stop his knight from getting out. Now, I thought I could make some counterplay. I play c4, and I'm like, look, I'm going to create a passer on after you take, or you don't take. So I thought, I'm making some good counterplay here. My knights are defending each other, and it's still fine. But here, he played knight e3. Again, he's making some errors because of the time pressure, but he's still slightly better. Here, he played knight e3. He should have taken, actually. But here, I play c takes b5. He plays knight d5. I go with knight to c4 to try to support b6, trying to push and maybe create some counterplay. He plays rook a2 check. And the engine's saying to move the king, but I don't think that's human. You don't want to lose g2. And you don't want to undefend b4. So that's why I played the move knight c to b2. To try to hold everything together. So here, he's, again, minus 2.4. We're both making some mistakes. He played king f6. I play g3 now, but it doesn't have the same effect because the knight's out. So we get a trade. And I think this position would be equal if he didn't have the 2-on-1 on the king side. I can't stop him from making a breakthrough with h4. So that was what I think. If that element of the position was not there, it would be more or less drawn. But fortunately for me, it is. So he played the move h5. I play king c2. He plays rook a3. I play king d2. I'm sort of waiting around a little bit. He plays h4. I know this is losing because this h-pawn is just very powerful. I try knight c4 to attack the rook. He plays check, king e1, h3. He's only 2 squares away from queening. There's not really much I can do about it. I try knight d2 with the idea to block the rook's vision of h2, but he played it anyway. And here I play knight f2 to try to stop the promotion, but he plays rook a1, and I'm going to end up sacking the knight because, well, he's going to queen, and I have to give it up. So after he queens, I play knight d to e4 check, just playing a forward-looking move before capturing. Not that it matters, really. He plays king e7 here. I take, and he only has a few minutes left, but this is more than enough to win for a national master. This is a piece of cake to win, especially with the 10-second increment, so that wasn't ideal. So after he won my knight, I knew it was over. I didn't resign yet because I have maybe 2 extra pawns. It's not totally lost. I try to do something. I play king d3. He plays rook b1. I'm trying to maybe do something with my b pawn. He plays rook takes b4. It's just very fruitless here. Like, I shouldn't really be trying to hold. But, I'm staying optimistic. King c5, rook b3, knight d2 to defend and attack the rook. Rook d3, knight c4. He takes my pawn. I try to maybe do something with the b pawn, b6, but he decides to sacrifice. And I thought maybe I can trick him in some way, like if I manage to surround the pawn and it would be rook versus knight, but he didn't do that. He's more than enough experience to not fall for stuff like that. He plays king f6. I try to bring my king back. I play a check. Maybe he would have fallen for a fork or something. That's why, don't resign if you have a knight on the board. That's what some people say. He plays check, king c4, e4, knight b5, trying to go knight d4. He just plays rook d3, and if I were to go knight d4, he would just sack, and the endgame would be totally losing. Not like it would be way more losing than it is right now, if that makes sense. So I try knight c7. He goes rook d6. I go knight b5. I'm just waiting for the inevitable, where he would just win by force. e3, knight a3. I'm trying my best here. e2, knight c2. And after rook to c7 check, I resign because he's going to sack the rook for the knight next move. And after I take or don't take, he's going to queen, or he's going to mate me with king and rook. So in this position, I resigned the game against Sankar. So it was I'm proud of the way how much I resisted in this game. I'm proud of how I made him work for the win. I knew I wouldn't win this game, but I didn't want it to be like a effortless game for him. So even though I lost, I'm proud of the amount of stamina I had to last 74 moves. If we take a look at the accuracy here, I played at 84.6 and he had 88.3. So again, we both made some mistakes in the time pressure, but we both played more or less okay. Again, I'm happy with the way that I put up some good resistance against a 2200. And he just outplayed me as a National Master would. And we have a score of 0 out of 1, but that's nothing to be discouraged about, because that would only mean that it gets easier from there, not the other way around. So stay tuned for the next few games of the tournament and how I'll do. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you thought. Have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.